Welcome in. We got some basketball to talk about here. Coming up, the all-important game number 2, Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat looking to go up 2-0 against the Celtics. Can they do it? Will they do it? Is there any room to maneuver here? Hey, you don't have to win. You can still cover. We're going to break it all down for you here today. And, of course, when it comes to cashing NBA tickets, we got 3 guys on the show here today. No, a little something about cashing tickets here as the prop god, Mr. Andy Lang, in the house on a Friday, as is. This is what happens when you leave the door unlocked. Brian Power in the house, as is Mr. Double R and 1L, Steve Merrill. Welcome in. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Lot going on here this weekend. We got a major championship in golf. We've got NHL, NBA playoffs, a ton of MLB, mixing a little UFC, Andy, and my goodness, how is your head not exploded yet, man? What's going on?
Oh, all part of the job. Keeping all the brains intact is part of the job description. But it's we haven't had very many plays this week. Honestly, we're gearing up for tonight and tomorrow and Sunday. So we got a 3-day pass. Andy 3 gets you 3 days for $39. We have a 5% soccer play up. We have a 5% UFC play that's up. We've been running great in those sports. Number 1 in soccer this year, number 1 in MMA the last 365 days. And then we got a couple daily plays in golf, as well as all of our usual MLB, NBA, NHL. So excited for a good weekend. It all kind of starts tonight for us.
Yeah, it does. Andy 3, guys, that is the code. Hop on board Friday, Saturday, Sunday, $39. Visit his page over at WagerTalk. And as long as you're there, you might as well go visit. I mean, if it was me, but, Brian Power in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Brian, what the hell, dude? You had yourself quite the night, if I'm not mistaken here. Was it a 4-in-1 evening? You nailed your 5% best bet?
I did, in fact, Joan. You're always welcome at my page, for the record. Yes. Please hop on over. But yes, and I understand, Joe, that perhaps you may have cashed. We may have both had that winner last night, but it was the under on the Lakers Nuggets, a 5% winner. We've released 5% plays in NBA this season, Joe. We've won all 5 of them, beating the spread by 65 points. Going back to late December, number 1 at WagerTalk with all 5% plays, 73% across all sports. Very proud of that. Yes, it was a 4-in-1 Thursday in all sports, gearing up for the weekend. Busy Friday as well. Got play on game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which we're about to break down. 2 baseball plays. Oh, by the way, baseball's running really great this week. 4-in-1 the last 3 days. All 4 of those winners were moneyline dogs at plus 134 or higher. Soccer, of course, big weekend. UFC, Andy hit on it. My UFC has been tremendous going back to July since I came on board here at WagerTalk. I actually number 1 overall in terms of win percentage and net units.
Yeah, that was a lot of smoke you blew up your ass there, Brian. I'm not going to lie, man. I almost lost track of all of that me, I. But damn, you're winning, man, and that is all that matters here ultimately at the end of the day. Speaking of double R and an L, I believe Steve Merrill knows a little something about winning as well. And what is going on and what is on tap here tonight, Merrill, heading into the weekend?
Oh, I'm thinking Brian Power. Can you imagine how mean he'd be to you if the Heat weren't up 1-0 in the series? Boy, are you fortunate. You should be a Miami Heat fan just for that reason the next couple of weeks. But the NBA playoffs have been great. By the way, I had the over in game 1. I stayed off that side. We talked about it on the show, as you know, Joe, the other day. I thought the Celtics might come a little complacent. We'll talk more about game 2 in a moment. But had the Lakers last night, never in doubt, another playoff winner. Now 20-8, 71% of the NBA playoffs. And it should be no surprise because so far in 2023, my clients have won over 104 units in the NBA in just 4.5 months this calendar year. And you might want to pay attention because I've got only my second 5% best bet of the entire NBA season going right now at WagerTalk.com. Wow. Second 5% play I've released the entire NBA season, and it goes right now, WagerTalk.com, plus a baseball best bet and a bonus-free baseball play. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
So that's impressive, Merrill. You got a big-time bet. Listen, it only happens a couple of times a year, which means you must like this play here tonight. Merrill, don't throw those out, willy-nilly here. So opportunity, guys, all three of these gentlemen on a roll, ready to go here into what is going to be a great start to the weekend. And maybe it's going to be a great start for the Miami Heat. Could they possibly go up 2-0? Well, they're getting 9.5 now, as apparently the market doesn't think so. 9.5 is what we've got here. 2:15 is a total interesting one here, too, as well. 8:30 tip-off time here tonight. Obviously, all the trends. I know. Boston. Got to bounce back. Team 2, right? Second game, coming off a loss in a conference final, yada, yada, yada. But 9.5, Andy, what do we do with this, man? It's crazy how high it's getting.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you got two teams in Florida that I like. Are we allowed to believe in the Panthers? Are we allowed to believe in the Heat just yet? Or are we still going to be laying next to almost 10 points? I don't know. I'm certainly not betting against the Miami Heat these days. They don't strike me as a team that's going to mail in a game just because they got the guaranteed split. You know, the only thing better going 1-0 in Boston is going 2-0. So I don't think Spoelstra and the guys are going to take the night off. There's actually quite a few props I think you can dabble in. I will start with Mr. Turnover himself, Jaylen Brown. It's juiced. It's minus 175 now. It was minus 150 early. They still have Jaylen Brown at 2.5 turnovers. And whether it's dribbling the ball off of his own foot, throwing the ball out of bounds, dribbling the ball like a toddler, so any defensive player with a minute amount of athleticism could just swipe the ball away. Jaylen Brown is your guy for turnovers. I think it's a sneaky play that I would be fine with laying the juice there. And then I was dabbling in a same game parlay, and this is actually a client play that we're going to do. We're going to play the Miami Heat over 98.5 on the team total, and we're going to combine it with Al Horford to have 5+ rebounds, so 5 rebounds or more. Horford's had 5 or more rebounds in 11 straight games, and this same game parlay has hit in every game between the Celtics and the Heat this year. I was surprised to learn that the Heat have gone over this total in every game, I believe, except the closeout game against New York. They've been scoring a lot, which is very unlike them if you look at their regular season. So I like Horford to do well inside. I thought he played great in game 1. Robert Williams played 26 minutes. I think that might be a lot for him with not a ton of rest. Worry about that knee. And Horford was really effective. I think they're going to need him. So that's a client play that's up. It's a small play, not a huge play, but if you're looking for a couple units to add to your bankroll, I think that's a solid one.
Well, we read anything into game 1. We a little less maybe of Robert Williams, a little more Horford here, Andy. So I love where you're going with that for sure. Brian Power, man, my goodness, over in game 1. Miami gets game 1, wins by 7. I just don't know. I get it. Boston can still win this, but by 10? Like, what are we doing here, man? What's going on?
It seems like you like the Miami Heat, Joe. I don't know. I'm picking up on that. But let me talk about the trend that you referenced at the top before you kicked to Andy. I'm assuming by now most are aware of this. Obviously, everyone on this panel is. But going back to 2019, NBA teams that lose game 1 of a series at home are a remarkable 21-1 straight up and 20-2 against the number in game 2. Not only does that include 16 straight victories straight up in this situation, but this year alone, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the number. We'll get to that one non-cover in a minute. But 6 of those 7 straight up victories this year, guys, were by double digits, 4 by at least 16 points. Of course, when you go back to the second round, Boston found itself in this situation against Philadelphia. What did they do? Won by 34. So you can understand the enthusiasm from that perspective. Now, there was the one instance of a home team not covering in this situation this year. That was the Knicks in round 2. And Joe, I don't need to tell you, they were playing the Miami Heat. And for what it's worth, the Heat were on the wrong end of this trend as well in the first round, and they did lose by 16 to Milwaukee there. So they're 0-2 straight up, but 1-1 against the number in this game 2 situation so far in these playoffs. But that game 2 loss to Milwaukee, only time this postseason the Heat have lost a game by double digits. All season, they've only lost 14 games by double digits. So we'll hear what Steve has to say. But, I think we all know the Miami Heat are not a team that gets blown out very often. If you look at the total, you mentioned the total, Joe, it's a situation where both teams shot very well in game one. Kind of reminds me of game one of that Lakers-Nuggets series.
Mm-hmm.
And what did I do last night? I bet the under. Now, this total is not quite as high as Lakers-Nuggets game two was. But I certainly don't expect Miami to shoot 51% from three again. I think even the biggest Heat fan, doesn't expect that probably. Teams that shoot 50% or better from three in the playoffs, 55% to the under in their next game, going back over the last 20 years. But Andy talked about this. The Heat's team total is low. So initially I was like, maybe we hit that. It's low. Like the official team total, it's 103 or 103.5 at most shops. I'm going to have a player prop as my official best bet, Joe, in a few minutes, but there is one more I wanted to mention as well. Something I did not expect to hear Reggie Miller or anyone else say this postseason was, how good is Gabe Vincent? His points and assist total is 14.5. I don't think he's going to be quite that good tonight. So I would look under 14.5 on Gabe Vincent. I could not believe while I was sitting enjoying game one that I heard, how good is Gabe Vincent? That's quite the statement.
Yeah, you might not even hear that in Gabe Vincent's house. You got to be kidding me. No, nobody saw that one. Somebody saw that one coming there. But Merrill, there's a lot to unpack on this. I mean, we did see last night, obviously, a monster shooting effort in game one from Denver and LA. Ton of points. Not so many points last night. Are you leaning towards us getting that same script in this one where ton of shooting, a lot of points in that first game, maybe a little less tonight, or is the side the way to look?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the total here because we haven't talked too much about it. First of all, I did like the over in game one. It was an easy best bet winner as part of that 20-8 playoffs I've had. I've been seeing it well, but I'd be a little more cautious with the over here in game two for a couple reasons. First of all, the line's a couple baskets higher. I released that around, I think game one opened like 210. I released it like 212, and it went as high as like 212.5. This one opened 215. We see 215, 215.5. But if you look at two of the more square books out there, they're at 216. So the over is definitely a public play in this one. And I do think we get a little bit of contrarian value now with the under, especially at that 216 number at some shops, which is basically 5 to 6 points higher than game one. And it's human nature. The zigzag works, the modified zigzag, which is usually quality teams, because they make adjustments, and the team that played well doesn't need to make adjustments. But in this situation, I think both teams probably need to make an adjustment towards some defense. Yes, Miami won that game, but they probably aren't happy about allowing 116 points and 52% shooting because they know they're not going to shoot 52% from three-point range and make 16 threes every game. Now, they've done a lot in the playoffs. Two ways to look at that. That's one of the reasons some people think they're playing on borrowed time, but there's other people that think they're a legitimate team. I think, as always, it's a little bit of both. But I think Miami will focus more on defense in this game. That'll be the adjustment they make. Obviously, they don't have to make any adjustment anywhere else. Boston has to make some adjustments all around. This is a very focused spot. And as Brian pointed out with some great data there, game two home teams have been very strong in this situation. But as Andy and Brian have both said, and you said, Joe, this line is inflated. The game one line was 8.5. And what we've seen in recent years, when a team loses bad like that, an outright favor loss, the public normally comes in on the dog. And yes, the Miami Heat are a public dog in this game, but they were also a very public dog in game one on Wednesday. The public cash there. The public's not always wrong. But it looks like Miami and the over are the public side in total in this one. And I do think we'll see more defense, especially from Boston. And I think Miami will have to play better D as well. So although the over was my preferred total in this in game one, I think I'd be a little cautious with it here in game two.
What makes these two teams so hard to bet game to get the 3-point variance is through the roof with these two teams. Are they going to be hitting them? They not? It's crazy. Exactly. And that's kind of what it feels, because if they're both on, this thing is 215. Yeah, they could have that through three quarters here. But if one in struggles or both struggle, first one to 100 wins. So it is a difficult way to go here. Before we get to a couple of best bets here on this game, though, I did want to see what you guys think of a 2-0 deficit by the Lakers. And if you are surprised at this, if you hadn't bet the Lakers now, Merrill, or hadn't up to this point, are you looking maybe at this price? I think, 3-1 now? Is this a possibility to jump in, or do you think it's a little too late for the Lakers to get involved now?
I definitely don't think this series is over. And we all know, Brian pointed out the great game 2 stats for home teams off a loss. But as we all know, the game 3 teams down 0-2 have been money in the bank as well. So we knew they were going to have to inflate this line. I'm shocked that they only opened at 3.5 at some locations yesterday. That was obviously a bad number because now it's 5.5 across the board. But you know what? I got to check right away, Joe, is that first half line. It also opened 3.5. So for a while there, we had the exact same line. Now it's 4.5, so it's a little shorter than the 5.5 game line. But yeah, first quarter, first half, these teams have been very strong. Lakers were strong last night. I joked earlier I covered with the Lakers, never in doubt. What were they, up 12 and then down 12 fourth quarter? Yeah. Jamal Murray was lights out in that fourth quarter. He single-handedly carried Denver. Probably be a little bit tougher for him on the road. And let's not forget, we talked about the Warriors home road dichotomy. Denver, I believe, maybe 43-7 at home, and they're 22-25 on the road this year. So it does look like a spot where LA should bounce back. Scott Foster not working tonight. Has he maybe flown out to LA for game 3 or 4? I would think so.
Yeah. Well, he is the extender after all. Andy, by the way, in that series, is it every other game we're supposed to hit overs with Anthony Davis? Is that how it works? Like game 1 was great. Now game 2, but now game 3, are we supposed to? Is that how we work the prop out there with Anthony Davis?
Yeah, it's just rinse and repeat with this guy. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with what's happening in this series. I thought that Golden State did Denver a real favor, and they kind of beat up Anthony Davis. And I think Lakers are in trouble. I'll get to it in my best bet, but one of the big things about this series is just the scheduling. It's every other day. They just played 2 hard games in Denver at altitude. I mean, everyone was dead at the end of the game, but LeBron was dead and Anthony Davis was dead. And Brian did a good job talking about Gabe Vincent. I mean, you went through another one in there. Ask any Wizards fan about Hachimura being the go-to guy on offense. Where did that? Like if you're the Lakers and you're like, well, we blew a game that Hachimura shot 98% from the field or whatever. He was
Good
from.
point.
I've heard the talk about, well, the Denver doesn't have any depth. Woof. The Lakers may not have depth in their starting lineup with D'Angelo Russell playing the way that he's been playing. I think the energy is going to be really, really hard to keep up when they're playing every other day like they are. I mean, LeBron was on fumes. He was taking horrible 3-point shots. And I actually, you look at Jokic's stat line and you go, wow, man, what an amazing game. And watching it, I didn't think he was that great, actually. I thought he had a lot of shots that he missed that he's normally going to make. And if they win game 3 or game 4, listen, I don't see how the Lakers are going to put it all together with only one day in between with the aging roster. I mean, this is a team that is depending on Austin Reeves, and this is a team that is depending on Anthony every other day Davis to get things done. I just don't see it with the Lakers. Denver's too much. Denver did not have a grueling series like the Lakers did coming into it. All signs point to Denver for me.
Shout out to the chat room comment so far of the day. AD's crying props will go over in game number 3. So outstanding, John. Very nice there. Definitely over on the AD crying props is fantastic. Brian, what about you? I mean, if you hadn't made a bet yet in LA, what you've seen in game 1 and game 2, are you just avoiding it altogether, or do you think, hey, this thing's still probably going 6 or 7?
Well, I want to piggyback off something that both guys said. Number one, we talked about the under in game 2, Joe, and you talked about, how inconsistent Davis has been. And Andy brought up Hachimura. What's crazy is in my analysis for that game 2 under, I was like, well, there's no way Austin Reeves and Hachimura are matching their game 1 production. And they did. And the difference was actually Anthony Davis, stunk. So that was key. And obviously the shooting was just way down overall. Now, Steve touched on the trend about game 3 teams returning home down 0-2. And he talked about just the first half line relative to the game line. It's for a reason. Going back, I think, again, it's like 20 years. Teams in the spot the Lakers are in, down 0-2, returning home for game 3, cover the first half number 67% of the time. We saw Phoenix cover the number in this exact same situation against Denver in the last round when people were writing the Suns off. And I'm even seeing, it's crazy, just to follow up what Steve said, some of the sharper books have the first half line -4.5, even though the full game line's -5.5. Now, so certainly the books kind of similar to tonight's game where they're maybe aware of the trends. They know maybe some sharper people are going to follow that. They've kind of priced the game accordingly.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's either going 7 or it's going to be over in 4 is what some people think. So the all-important game 3 coming up. But again, game 2 here tonight before they head down this way here to Miami over the weekend. So it is time to look at some best bets here and see what these guys think on this game here tonight between the Celtics and the Heat. Just a quick reminder. Shout out to those of you in the chat room. Cheshire Cat roughing up AD. Fantastic stuff in there, Cheshire. Very nice. Wouldn't take a lot. I get it. I understand. But appreciate you guys. If you'd hit that like button and subscribe, that would be fantastic if you haven't done so already. So let's kick it off here, Andy. For Cheshire Cat, tell us, where are you going here, man, for a best bet tonight? Come on.
I also want to give my 60 seconds to Cheshire Cat to take over. I don't know if I can compete with the fire that he's giving out in the chat room. No, that's good stuff, Cheshire. Yeah, you can use the promo code Andy3, ANDY3, to get 3 days for $39. We have 2 5% plays up for this weekend. We've got a lot of things going, a lot of sports, golf, soccer, UFC, MLB, NHL, NBA. We even got a lacrosse play that is coming up. Listen, I put my money where my mouth was for beginning of the series. I took the Denver Nuggets straight up to win the series, and I'm still going to put another unit on them, -1.5 games. I thought that was the game that the Lakers needed to get. I thought they needed confidence-wise and physical-wise to get out of Denver with a split. They are teetering on the edge. If they lose game 3, the series is over. I talked about the schedule was really, really against the Lakers. LeBron looked dead. Anthony Davis looked dead. This is a team that's relying on Hachimura and Reeves. I don't think it's sustainable. Give me the Denver Nuggets to win, -1.5 on the series prop.
All right. Boom. Get them done there. Yeah, we're going to give him 60 seconds, but we don't want to buzz him. It is the playoffs anymore. And he did offer up 10 seconds to Cheshire Cat, so we're good there. All right, Brian Power, let it fly here, man. You are crushing it on a 4-1 run right now. You just hit last night alone there. You hit your 5% best bet, so let's keep it rolling. What do you like in this game, or quite honestly, any other game we got coming up here?
Yeah, similar to Andy, we've just got a ton of sports coming up this weekend on the docket. Obviously, NBA playoffs, MLB, soccer, UFC, we got it all covered. Wire to wire, just head on over to my page. There'll be a ton of plays each and every day. Like you mentioned, Joe, it was a 4-1 Thursday with a 5% win on the under in Lakers Nuggets. That is 5 for 5 now this season with NBA 5% plays. Now, looking at game 2 tonight, we're going to talk about a player prop here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Andy actually on this, Robert Williams. Whether the Celtics win or lose tonight, I'm not expecting a very strong effort out of him. He did have 14 points and 7 rebounds in game 1, but in the 26 minutes he was on the floor, Boston was outscored by 14 points. So I'm expecting we're going to see less of him tonight, more of Al Horford. Williams, in terms of his rebounding, he gets pulled away from the rim because the Miami bigs, they're not afraid to shoot jumpers. So Boston will go small, and when it's one big man, it's going to be Al Horford. Go under points, rebounds, and assists, 16.5 for Robert Williams.
All right, I like it. A little less, so you agree then. A little less RW, a little more Horford in all likelihood on its way here. Like the way you're rolling with that one there. Talk to me here, Merrill, on this Friday. I know you got MLB, NBA. It's a big weekend for you here. So break something down for us. What are you looking at this weekend?
Big weekend, and we started off with a big Friday night at WagerTalk.com. MLB side best bet, 62% on the season. A free MLB play. Don't forget about the free plays every day. I believe in quality over quantity. I'm very selective, just 1 to 2 best bets a day. I'm even more selective when it comes to big plays. I've only had my second 5% NBA play of the entire season going right now, and you might want to pay attention. Up 104 units in the NBA this year already in 2023, 20-8, 71% in the NBA playoffs. I'm releasing only my second 5% NBA play of the entire season. Get it right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com for $35, or get it for free when you get the 2-month baseball special. Every baseball play through the All-Star game in July, and you get the rest of the NBA for free. No promo code needed. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Anthony Davis zigzag in full effect the entire postseason. Let's look for him to have a big game 3. Points, rebounds, assists over 40.5 as opposed to points, rebounds over 37.5. He's had 3 or more assists in basically every game the last couple of weeks, and he gets there with a big game on Saturday.
You like it. Oh, little PRA getting up, and away it is, right? Game 1, game 3, right. And you might as well just punch it in for game 5 if they get there, because we know what's going to happen as well. So let's recap it one more time for you guys here on this Friday as Andy Lang, his best bet heading into this weekend. How about Denver? Lakers are in trouble. He's going to take that series. He'll lay the game and a half in the series right now, -160 for Denver, while Merrill expecting shocker, odd game, meaning Anthony Davis going to show up here, 40.5 PRA up and over that one, while Brian Powers says a little less RW to third here, a little more Horford. He's going to go with Robert Williams to third, under 16.5 PRA here tonight. And again, John Finley, by the way, just absolutely crushing the chat room here today. Let me just throw that up. The guy that drives the Zamboni is tougher than Anthony Davis. Very nice. Outstanding stuff here. Cheshire Cat, John Finley, you guys win the chat room here tonight. And because of them, you guys, if you are new and joining us here, again, I apologize for the lunatics in the chat room. However, we are willing to give you 50% off if, in fact, this is your first time here at Wager Talk. Take that 50% off. Use the code TRYWT. That is TRYWT. Any daily or 3-day all-access pass. That is the way to go, guys. If you are new to WagerTalk.com, take advantage. Don't forget about Andy's 3-day package as well, guys. I believe Andy 3 is the code there. 3 days all access for $39. Merrill ready to go. Doesn't have a 5% playoff. And, guys, he's got one locked and loaded. Take advantage of it. Makes no sense not to head over there. And Brian Power, the man just wins. Another 5% winner last night. And then, of course, had a 4-1 night, looking to roll that into the weekend. So a lot of ways to make money this weekend, guys. Let's do so. And, of course, if you hit that like button and subscribe button, we would certainly appreciate it. Make plans to come back and join us. We do have a last call tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be breaking down all the games coming up on the slate tomorrow. Taking a look there. Any last-minute questions you have, certainly come by and join us live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern here on Wager Talk TV. All right, that does it. On behalf of Andy, Brian Power, and Steve R1L Merrill, we appreciate the time, guys. Listen, best of luck with all your plays this weekend. Come back and join us again tomorrow, and we'll see you soon. Good luck.